Hello, welcome to He's Hot, but Something's Off. Something is off. I'm recording this in the morning, and a lot of the times I record this in the afternoon, early evening. But today, I just felt like recording. Sometimes I I do this as a hobby. I do this for fun. I've said that a few times before. This isn't making me any money, honestly. But I'm very if I'm gonna put out something, content, I get very organized about it because I've been putting up content for so long in different forms that I know that the only way to stick to putting out content, especially something like a podcast where people expect new episodes somewhat regularly, the only way to really do it properly is to have a schedule. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily put out something every single week. I think it's nice because a lot of the more successful podcasts they do every single week, and it comes out that way. And it's like your when your favorite show comes out on YouTube or Netflix or TV or whatever, and it's once a week. And like Drag Race, I watch Drag Race. It comes out once a week. It's always on a Friday. I look forward to it. I expect it. It's nice when it's like regular every single week. So even though I do this for fun, I put out an episode every single week. But the thing about that is, some weeks are harder than others. Some days are harder than others, and there are days and weeks where it's like I don't really feel like recording an episode. That's just the truth of it. If this was more of like a business, more of a professional endeavor, then I think I would probably hold myself to like a slightly higher standard. But the other aspect of doing something and having it be like a burden, I guess is the thing. Not to make the three of you listening feel like it's a burden for you to make this content for you. I'm just trying to be like real with you, honestly. The flip side of that is, when I put out something, I think about how people are going to perceive it. Like when you put something out into the world, like you post something on social media, you're not necessarily doing it for any sort of gain. I know there are influencers that are posting just to post, but a lot of people, they post stories and whatever videos, photos on social media just to post it. Just for fun or just to show their friends and followers what's going on. It's like there's no like business or monetary motives there at all. But even then, no matter why you're putting something out there, you probably you probably think about how that content is going to be perceived, right? Most people do. And the thing is, sometimes that is a very restricting mindset to have. It depends on how far you take it. People talk about photoshopping and face tuning photos and filters and things like that. It's because that when you put a selfie of yourself out there on the internet, people are going to look at it and make a judgment on that photo and therefore of you. So you want to quote unquote look good, and you face tune filters. Those are not new things anymore. Those things have been out for many years now, and it's a thing that people do. But it's the same for me. I'm not so different than other people out there. Part of my image, part of one of the businesses I run, the OnlyFans, relies on my physical image. So definitely with Kian, it's a little bit more like on the next level in terms of, okay, photos and videos I put out there, part of that business is looking physically attractive. So when I put that content out there, I take it to the next level in terms of making sure, okay, I need to look good in this video. When I edit videos for Kian, there are definitely parts and scenes where I've cut from the final video because, this is not a flattering angle. like in this position, at this angle, with this camera, with this lighting, it's not flattering. I'm not going to put it in. And it's a subjective call, obviously. We try to set it up so that, the lighting is optimal, the camera angles are optimized. You have multiple cameras going, partially because of that. So if one angle looks hideous, hopefully another angle will look good enough that that scene itself doesn't go to waste, and it can make it to the final edit. But it's little things like that. For that business, it just comes with the territory. When you're doing that type of content, or like when you're modeling, or like TV or film, like you're trying to give a particular visual, comes to that territory. But for just Joey T, for my own personal whatever, like for this, like I don't really get dressed up for the video version of this podcast, which is available on my YouTube channel, just Joey T. Because it was not supposed to be about the way I look. It's just supposed to be like me talking about whatever on the microphone. But even with the audio medium, when I'm editing the audio for this, as time has gone on with the 100-odd episodes that I've recorded so far, the week by week as it goes by, the more and more I edit the audio on it, because I don't like how many ums and ahs that I say, and I don't even notice it when I'm recording usually. Those like filler words that a lot of people hear, but I don't even know if they even understand. I'm listening to more and more podcasts as I, just in the more recent years, and a lot of, I don't know how much other people edit their podcasts, but I think for me, I'm going to try to edit it less, because the recording, like this recording part, it feels fun. I can just talk about whatever I want. Flipping on a camera is not that much effort, honestly. I've got a couple of lights set up on my dining room. My dining room table is now like my permanent podcasting setup now, because I don't eat at the dining room table ever. I don't actually use it. But so it's I've got my office and also the guest bedroom, so that's kind of filling up. So this is like now by the way, I haven't even talked about the change of scenery on the video version of the podcast. I just assume most of you to like just roll with it. But yeah, you might have noticed if you watched the video version that the probably about 4 months ago, about in January, that's when you notice that, we didn't have that mint green background anymore. And it became this other room, this other place with with the art on the back that has like the 3-letter airport codes for some of the airports, in like the kind of pastel colors. And now we have this more generic background that has like a shelf with random stuff on it. And then we have this fake plant from IKEA. It's a fake plant from IKEA. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I just over the course of the 100 episodes, the more that I edit, the more I get pickier and pickier about the audio. And when I listen to other people's podcasts, I can tell the ones where a lot of them, they don't edit as much as I do. Like when I look in the editor, when I'm done editing an episode of this podcast, the number of cuts and edits, I can just see at a glance on the timeline. It's like 50 different little tiny things I've taken out that are like split-second little ums and ahs or pauses that I've taken out. And that is that's the least enjoyable part of editing this podcast. And it's because I want to put out a good product. I don't necessarily like how many ums and ahs I say naturally when I'm talking. But when I listen to other people's podcasts, it doesn't bother me to hear other people say ums and ahs. I don't think most people say it to the level that I do, though, to be really honest. And I think I'm going to edit my podcast a little less, because that's like the time suck. Like if I didn't try to do all those kind of sort of micro edits. The editing for this would be like a 5-minute job. It'd be so fast. It would still be enjoyable. So I actually really hesitated to bring this up. It's one of those things where when someone brings it up, now you're going to look for and listen for those things. I think there is a part of me that would like to try to not use so many filler words, like saying like all the time. I say like a lot. And to the point where some people on the comments and some past episodes have pointed it out. But you know what the other thing about that is? If you don't want to listen to me talk, switch off. Like, are you paying money for this? By the way, Patreon subscribers, I know you're paying money for the ad-free version of this, and your patronage is very much appreciated. But you also get a whole bunch of other content, and you guys get another exclusive episode, and I will edit that to the death because you're paying money for it. But for like the people that, you know, there's a million different podcasts and YouTube videos or whatever you can watch. If you don't want to listen to me and watch me, just don't. I think I've gotten to the point where a lot of my adult life, I've been so concerned about how other people perceive me that a lot of the things I do, I just think about, oh, how am I going to look when I do this thing? Or if I look a certain way, or if I dress a certain way, or if I act a certain way. I think I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to get more and more tired of it, to the point where the tiredness of that is starting to outweigh how much I care about the perception. You know what I mean? Because everything you do, a lot of things you do in life is risk versus reward, cost versus benefit. And I think for me on this particular, this particular thing, the cost is starting to outweigh the benefit. Maybe not in absolute, on paper, objective terms, but I think I care less and less for certain things, how people perceive me. If you don't like how many times I say like, go just fuck off. Go listen to someone else. There was a comment on a recent episode where I was talking about some of the Formula One stuff and some of the drama about new drivers getting sacked and whatever. And someone is likely they meant no ill intent. It was just a very different topic, and I aware that a lot of people are not into Formula One. And then they just made a comment about what the hell is going on with this? And I just made usually I don't engage, but I think I'm at a point where it's my comment section. If I want to engage, I will. And I just said, well, it's my podcast, and I'll talk about whatever I want. And I just want to reiterate that this is my podcast, and I will talk about what I want. If you don't want to listen to me talk, switch off. Hey, when was the last time you really took care of your skin? The skin is the largest organ in the whole human body and is doing so much for you. It protects you from germs and cooties. It keeps you warm when you're cold. It keeps you cool when you're hot. It's making vitamin D. It gives you the gift of touch and sensation. And that's just scratching the surface, so you better take care of it. I started my own skincare company, Serve Labs, to serve fun and functional skincare for everyone, so that you can serve fun while serving face. Go to servelabs.co, servelabs.co, or follow us at Serve Labs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and discover how easy and fun it is to treat your skin right with Serve Labs. It's so easy. It's so easy. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. Because I'm doing this for my benefit. And I love that there's like 3 or 5 of you that love to listen to me. Maybe you don't love every episode. That's fine. I don't expect everyone to like every episode of this. But I find it fun to put this out there every week. I actually ran into someone recently, I think it was at EDC. I was at EDC, and then someone that I haven't met before, but it was like a friend of a friend, listens to my podcast. I don't like one of the 2 podcasts that I put out, either this one or the gay cruise and travel podcast. But that was so great to have people listen to my podcast, to like actually meet someone that listened to my podcast. Because I know the numbers on this, and it's fine. I love that there's like 3 or 5 of you that listen to this, and you get some sort of enjoyment about it. But if there is some sort of point to this week's episode, I wasn't planning to talk about this for like 12 minutes or 14 minutes. Yeah, care as much as you want about how other people perceive you. Like I said, with Kian's Instagram and Twitter and content, for example, yeah, it comes with that territory. It comes with that industry to have a particular visual look. And yeah, like for the content that goes up under Kian, yeah, it's a lot more considered, the content that I post and not post. And yeah, the amount of editing and production that goes into that content is a lot higher, and it is a lot more work. But that is the work of that industry. That is the work of that type of job. But when it comes to this, like this right now, this is not Kian content. This is not the OnlyFans thirsty Instagram content. This is just like the podcast where I talk about, again, where I talk about what I want. If you don't like it, you can switch off. Yeah, I think I want to keep this as a hobby. That means keeping it fun and doing the millions of edits that I kind of sort of get carried away with. I do one little edit and take away one little bit of the audio that doesn't sound quite perfect. And I keep going. I just can't spend 30 minutes editing every single episode of this podcast, guys. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, actually. Sorry is when you've done something wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. Just one of the things you learn when you do customer service in some companies. But some companies, they teach you, don't apologize unless the company or you have actually done something wrong. But it's so easy. It's some other companies who teach you, apologize anyways. Always apologize if the customer is like voicing any criticism or something they're experiencing any sort of issue. It just like whatever playbook. It depends on the playbook and the company and the organization you work for. I'm more of the thing that the two times when I apologize, when I'm actually have done something wrong. The other time is just as a courtesy. Is in like everyday situation. It's like, I mean, those are usually when you've like kind of sort of done something wrong. It's like you accidentally bump into someone or something like that. You say sorry. Like you bumped into someone, you say sorry, but you probably shouldn't have bumped into someone. But anyways, yeah, I hesitated to bring that up because now the 3 or 5 of you are going to listen to the ums and ahs and the likes. But honestly, if you listen for a while, the 3 or 5 of you that keep listening have listened for a while. That's what I know from the comments and you guys interacting with me. I think you're probably okay with it by now, but yeah. I didn't know that would have been 50 minutes of content. But it's more of a general theme as well. Sometimes I just do things, not just this podcast, just generally in daily life. And I think so much about how other people are going to perceive like what I do, what I say, what I wear, how I look, how I do my hair, or how I'm not doing my hair. I'm not doing my hair right now, for example. And I just kind of sort of don't want to anymore. Because I do so many other things for actual money as professionally as an actual business where like, okay, like the image is important. With the skincare brand, my face is not on it, but hey, it's when we do the marketing, when we do like the website, when we do the social media, when we do the packaging, the visuals matter. Even though it's not a person, but like the graphics design, like the visual story that we're telling with the marketing, with the graphics, with the images, with the brand, it really matters. It's a very visual medium when we do marketing. Even though the actual product itself is not really like, it's not like a visual art type of a product, skincare. And obviously with Kian needs to look like good, whatever you define good to be, because hey, like that's the type of business that is. So I feel like maybe I spend on the actual business that is generating revenue. By the way, this doesn't generate revenue. On the actual things that are my professional businesses and actually generate money, I spend a lot of my energy in those businesses, the 2 day jobs, if you will, worrying and thinking and making sure that the visuals are good. That when it comes to this podcast, where it's primarily an audio medium, and I'm just doing this for fun. This isn't bringing me any money, honestly. When your video gets 100 views on YouTube, even if you have monetization on, you get what, 2 cents, 5 cents on a video. Mama, that's not monetization. That's like someone dropped some spare change by accident. So I'm not gonna spend 30 minutes editing a video when it really should be just 5 minutes on the edit for something that I should be doing for fun, when the edits are not that enjoyable, but I have to edit like 20 other videos that week for things that actually make me money. Yeah, was that a rant? Almost every episode is a rant. You all should know by now. Yeah, but yeah, it was good. It felt good to me to talk about that. And that's not me trying to say you shouldn't care what other people think of stuff you put on the internet. Because like I said, I've got 2 businesses where I do care a lot how that brand / my image is perceived. But there are, I think it's nice to have aspects of your life where, yeah, you can, when you go out or when you go to work, you want to dress a certain way. When you go to a meeting, when you meet clients, for certain people, you might want to look and present yourself in a certain way and give a certain impression. I think that's fine, because I'm not saying like you should never care what anybody thinks of you, because who cares what other people think. I think that's true to a certain extent. If you want to take that to the max, like, more power to you. I'm just saying there's no like right or wrong. There are a lot of people that will not let half a selfie of themselves go out unless they look perfect in it, and then they never do anything less than dress to the nines before there's a camera in sight or before they even open their front door. That's fine. What I'm trying to say is, like, do what you think works for you, and I think that changes over time. Like I said, as the years have gone on, I feel like that balance for me is different, and also because my life has become different. My environment and situation has become different. Like, what I do for work is different. The type of content I produce is different. So that evolves as well. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, do what feels right for you. I think it's very easy to get swept away with, to just blanketly say you shouldn't care what anybody thinks and kind of apply that in a blanket, all-encompassing way. Like, that sounds very idealistic. And if you are comfortable embracing that in an idealistic, all-encompassing way, again, like, that's great for you. But that's not for me. And I think that's just finding what the balance that works for you. Sometimes, you do want to look nice for whatever reason. Like, I wear makeup sometimes when I want to look nice, either for myself and or to look nice for other people. Like, if I'm going to go on a date, I'm probably going to do my hair. I'm probably going to think a little bit differently about what I'm going to wear. I'm probably going to think more about how I smell. Not that I think I usually smell bad, but like, I might wear a little more deodorant, and I might spritz on cologne when I'm going to the gym. I don't usually spritz on cologne. Like, when I'm going hang out with friends, it's like I don't really need to impress them. When you go on a date, okay, it's a little different. It's situational, and it's also up to your personal preference. So for me, this podcast is supposed to be my hobby. It's supposed to be fun. And editing for 30 minutes to take out the ums and ahs and the likes isn't fun. So I think I'm just going to dial down the editing a little bit. There's also like a weird buzz that I sometimes hear with this microphone, with this whatever. Since I've like rotated it 90 degrees, I don't know if it's like the feng shui is a little off when I rotate it and I'm sitting on the other side of the table, or maybe I need to get like a proper power strip, not like one of those cheapo power strips from Amazon for like $5, like one of the nicest surge protector ones. There might be like a little electrical noise or something coming in via the whatever. But like, anyways, see, a lot of these things I don't want to say now. You're going to listen to, oh, is there a buzz on the recording now? Oh, how many times is Joey saying ums and ahs and likes? So I actually hesitated to bring it up, but like, I really thrive on feedback. My instinct was like asking people, does this bother you? But now I've decided it's not going to bother you because it's not going to bother me. Yeah. Anyways, that's most of today's podcast. I've had it on my podcast to talk about list. Instead of a to-do list, I have a to talk about list of topics. To talk a little bit about the Drag Race All-Stars 10 premiere, but we are like a few weeks past the premiere already. So I'm just going to have some like general thoughts about the All-Star season so far. So if you don't care about Drag Race, feel free to end the podcast here, and we'll see you back again next week. And obviously for those Patreon subscribers, you are going to get your weekly uncut episode this weekend. By the way, I received a lot of great comments from the uncut episode that I posted to Patreon last week. Even for like the small number of Patreon subscribers, I felt like the comments lit up. When I alluded to some of like, when I talked about in the PG fashion, some of the boy stories I had from EDC Vegas. So if you're at all interested to hear what that episode was like, it was PG. It was not like R-rated or anything like that. Feel free to like subscribe to my Patreon. You can do it really cheap. It only costs you like the mid-tier that gets you, you know what? Even the bottom, the $3 tier gets you to the uncut podcast episodes every week, and also gets you the ad-free version of this one. So if you just want to see just what some of the uncut episodes are like, just for $3 a month, you can just do it for 1 month and you don't have to renew. You can just go to my Patreon. It's linked in the description below. You can listen to last week's uncut podcast where I talked about a few different boy stories from my time at EDC, which is such a mindfuck for me. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to renew for the $3. But as promised, I asked my Patreon subscribers, okay, I gave you like the preview, the PG version of some of the stuff that happened boy-wise with at EDC. There is like one or two stories that I can go into in like graphical kind of explicit detail. Would you like that? And the overwhelming response was yes. No, Patreon isn't for porn or like super explicit stuff, because Patreon, and I'm getting a phone call from somewhere that shouldn't be calling me. Patreon isn't for like super sexually explicit content. So, but I still want to deliver that to my Patreon subscribers because they really want to hear it. So I'm going to find a way to do it. And then I'm going to talk more about it on Patreon with my Patreon subscribers. So, but go check out my Patreon. If you're at all curious, just $3 a month will get you to the full back library of the uncut episodes. But last week's uncut episode was really, really well received. I got a lot of comments on it straight away. So if you want to just like spend like less than a cost of a latte from Starbucks, but so latte is like $4 or $5 now at Starbucks. For less than a cost of a single latte, a single coffee, you can get access to every single uncut episode. I think we have like 25 or so episodes now, including the slightly juicy one from last week. And then later in June, I'll release another one that goes into some of the juicy details of one or two of the encounters I had at EDC Las Vegas. I think on this PG public version of the podcast, that's as much as I could allude to. But anyways, just a plug for my Patreon. All right. So one of my earliest teenage obsessions was skincare. Instead of looking at toys in the kids section at the store, I was looking at moisturizers in the skincare section. As I grew up and navigated my sexuality, I saw that most of the beauty industry was aimed at feminine women, sometimes at masculine men, but everyone else was left out. It wasn't for someone like me. With Surf Labs, I wanted to create a fun skincare experience for everyone. I'm pretty sure your skin doesn't care how masked or femme you are or who you love, but I'm absolutely sure you need to take care of it. Check us out at servelabs.co, servelabs.co, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at servelabs. Now, onto some of my quick-ish thoughts about Drag Race All-Stars Season 10. I'm really trying to just keep this super short, but we'll see how it goes. Anytime I say I'm going to do something quickly on a podcast, it's like 30 minutes, but for the timing. Anyways, my general thoughts is I like that they have this bracket system, and I didn't know how they were going to sequence the episodes for the different brackets. So obviously at the premiere about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they released the first 2 episodes that week of the premiere. And the way they're doing it is 3 episodes for each of the brackets. And there are 3 brackets, 6 queens in each. And within the three episodes for each of the brackets, you get 3 queens that advance, the top 3, into the semifinals. And then the other 3 queens are eliminated, but then there's some sort of twist where some of them can be brought back. I kind of sort of like this bracket system because it's new, and I think it is kind of sort of entertaining. It's like, oh, we have 3 episodes to get to know these 6 girls and see and kind of have the 6 girls really show what they are up to. Because when you get a regular episode of regular seasons of All-Stars, the first like 3 or 4 episodes, you've got, I don't know, 16, 14, 12 queens all vying for airtime. And when you have 3 episodes for 6 queens, I feel like everybody gets more airtime and everybody gets a bit more of a chance in each episode, to challenge in each episode to kind of show a bit more. You're not fighting, you're not sharing airtime and stage space as much as on like a regular episode where there are at least like another 8 or 10 or 12 queens around. And the fact that obviously no one goes home during those 3 episodes means that you got 3 episodes you have 3 episodes airtime. So for someone like Irene, for example, in that first bracket where she only really had 1 episode before of airtime, and now she's got less space to share, and she's got the 3 full episodes. I kind of like that, and people tend to want to see their All-Stars not be eliminated. You know, like the All-Stars All Winners season, that was pretty popular because people got to see their favorites on multiple episodes, and I think that was one of the key things they probably thought about. You know what? We can't just eliminate someone after like a couple episodes because like the fans want to see their All-Stars. If it was an All-Star season, I think that viewer dynamic is different. But with the All-Stars, I think I do like, so far at least, I do like this bracket system where every queen gets at least 3 episodes and they have to share less of the screen time with tons of other queens. So we already done the first bracket. Irene was like a little bit of a surprise. Again, to be honest, we didn't really see much of Irene, what she had to offer, her talent on her original season, because again, she was only there for that 1 episode. And so she was a bit of a surprise just because, when you get kicked off the first challenge in your original season, expectations aren't high for you coming back, but you feel like, oh, you're the first one to go home. Is never an enviable position to be in. And it kind of always, perception-wise, put you a peg down compared to everyone else that made it like further on in the original season or in a previous season. But yes, Irene was a bit of a surprise only because of that. And then, yeah, like Bosco, she was strong in her season, and you can clearly see that she's gone better since her season. I've talked about, it's so great when queens come back for a second, or third, or fourth, or whatever, for another season of Drag Race. When they have been off for a while, to see that they have stepped it up, they have gained more skills and experience, they leveled up, like their fashion, their makeup, the glow up generally. And that's great to see. And I think we saw that probably with Irene, but again, not a lot of point of reference. And then, but like with Bosco, I think that happened as well. Now, one of the fun things so far is seeing this like MVQ points thing where queens are giving each other points. And I guess that's kind of sort of foreseeable to know that in a lot of All-Star seasons recently, queens would be giving points to other queens. You know, All-Star rules are kind of sort of has that element in it these days, the last several All-Star seasons, where it's not just what the judges think, it's what your fellow competitors think, and they have some sway in determining the outcome. So the MVQ point, I think, was like a decent way, a good way to do that. But I didn't expect that to be like a possible three-way tie for third place in the third episode, the final episode for the first bracket. So that was like pretty interesting to see, and also seeing how quickly alliances are forming. And when you have such a small, like smaller group of queens, we have 6 queens, and then the alliances you form are small. When you have like a larger pool of queens, like 10 or 12 or 14 queens in like a more regular All-Star season, and then you form alliances that way, you know, I think it's a little easier when, you know, when you have 6 queens to form alliances with, like some of those alliances overlap. And that's what we saw, and it kind of sort of like blew up a little bit. I mean, think what you will about alliances. I feel like when there's only 6 queens in the room and there's like 3 episodes, the way the brackets are set up, I think you just have to be very careful setting up alliances. Not that they're a bad thing, but we just saw in the first bracket how when you have overlapping alliances and when you only have 6 queens in the workroom that are the same 6 queens over multiple episodes, it's hard to keep the alliances a secret. And part of making the alliance work is that it's a secret. So on some of the other queens, I mean, I thought very quickly, I thought Bosco and Irene, I think after the first episode, it was pretty clear like Bosco was going to go to the top. Irene was probably a favorite to be in the top 3 as well. And then beyond that, I thought Ahhs would probably be in the top 3. But I didn't expect that Ahhs would just be like by the skin of her teeth to get up to the top 3. I think I didn't expect Olivia to be so try-hard about manicuring her image, for a lack of a better term. She seemed very concerned about how she was going to be perceived or how she was going to like behave in the workroom. And I think it worked. For me, it worked against her. And that was apparent in the first episode where she wanted to come out as, she wanted to represent herself as someone who was not a pushover, someone who was not going to be, you know, swaying with whatever direction the wind is going to go, which is great. But I felt like she was trying to force a narrative that wasn't genuine. She was trying to assert a dominance that wasn't really there. It didn't come off as a result. It didn't really work. You know, it's right that hard to force something that isn't there. You know, when you're on stage, that's a little different for like a challenge. But when you're trying to push through a persona in the workroom that isn't really there, I think that's very difficult, and I think it doesn't work because the girls are gonna see it. You know, you can say like, yeah, I'm not a pushover. I'm gonna get what I want. I'm gonna be assertive. If you can actually be assertive and actually not be a pushover, yeah. But just saying it and making a fuss doesn't make you those things. And I feel like Olivia was like trying so hard to push something that I didn't see was there, and I think it just kind of backfired on her. And I don't know if it affected her performances in the challenges or not. It just didn't work for me. It just, what she was trying to, the persona she was trying to put out, it just didn't work for me. I was hoping Phoenix would be a little bit stronger. She's one of the OG queens, been in the game for so long, and she does drag and she does productions and things like that for so many years now. I thought she would be a little bit stronger. Obviously, it's a pretty strong set of queens. But I thought she would actually be like, she was my underdog going in. I'm thinking like, you know what? A lot of people haven't seen Phoenix in a long time on the show. But she's been doing drag for so many years that she must have some shit to bring to the table in All Stars. But unfortunately, that didn't materialize. Deja Sky was just kind of there. Yeah, she was just kind of there for me. I need to rewatch. So that's the first bracket, the first 3 episodes. The 4th episode was the first episode of the second bracket. And we got Georges, Carrie Colby, Lydia Collins, Mistress, Isabel Brooks, Nicole Page Brooks, and Tina Burner. And I need to go back and rewatch that first episode of the second bracket, so episode 4. Because I had just gone back from EDC for like a few days, and like I felt like I wasn't quite in a state to be able to like sit down and actually watch it properly. I know tomorrow the second episode is gonna go up. So tomorrow on Friday, before I watch episode 5, I'm gonna go watch episode 4 again before I stream the new one because I wasn't paying like full attention. But honestly, Georges is gonna go through. Let's just do some predictions to end the podcast. I don't talk forever. And maybe in a couple of weeks, I have more thoughts about the bracket when it's all done. Georgia's going to go through. I think Georgia, because favorites, because Rue loves her. I think Georgia's would go through. I think I had Mistress to also go through because I feel like Mistress can really bring it. I feel like she's so smart. She knows how to play the game. I think she knows what it takes to at least to make it into the semis. I don't think she was in the top 3 for in the last week's episode though. So, but like, I feel like Mistress is a strong queen. I don't think Nicole is gonna make it to the top 3. I think Tina won, so like Tina could be a bit of a dark horse. But like I think it could be like Georges, Mistress, and then maybe either like Lydia or Tina will be top 3. I think of those 4, 3 of them are going to go through. Just based on last week's episode, I feel like maybe Tina is a bit stronger than I expected. And maybe just based on that one episode, Mistress is not quite doing it compared to some of the other queens. So maybe it could be like Georges, Tina, and maybe Lydia going through to the top 3 on the current trajectory. But obviously, we're just one episode down, so I'm interested to see how the other 2 episodes for this bracket shakes out. I love Georges. I think she's so entertaining to watch. Like, the personality is right there. The charm, the charisma, the uniqueness, the nerve, the talent. Like, it's all there. So it's just so entertaining. Even when she's like not like actively performing, it's like the personality, the charisma is so hard to like. You can't build that, baby. That's just who you are. So I can see why Rue loves her so much. But I'm a fan of Georgia. I actually really like Carrie Colby. I feel like if there was one person I would love to be in the top 3, even though I think objectively might not get there, that's Carrie Colby for me. Because I love her look. She's beautiful and gorgeous, yes, but I feel like she does have talent. She does have like the charisma and the personality. I think she just wasn't in. She just really didn't really show it that much in her first season because she was too concerned about looking pretty. But I really feel like in the time that has passed since her original season to now, I think she has really learned that lesson, and I think she can actually like get into the top 3 and be like a worthy top 3 for the semis. So obviously the first episode we had was like a ball, so it's like fashion. So I'm really interested. I want Carrie to be in the top 3 personally, because I think it's such a great story when you see a queen that has like taken all the notes, put in the hard work, in the time since the original season, and they've had this like major glow up, major step up, and to come back to the All Stars and Rocket. I love to see that story. That is so great. I just really hope that she just lets it all loose and just gives it everything in the 3 episodes, even if she doesn't make it to the top 3. But I think that's like the best thing that could happen for her. But like I'm rooting for her, even though I think statistically the odds, looking at the other queens, it's a tough crowd. Yeah. So those are, well, I don't know how quick or not quick that was, but anyways, those are some of my thoughts on Drag Race All Stars Season 10. Thank you for listening to another episode of He's Hot But Something Is Off. And it's Wednesday morning. It's just past 11. So I'm going to edit this. I'm going to do a 5 to 10 minute edit on this one. I'm not going to sit there for 30 minutes just picking out the ums and ahs and likes anymore. And then I'm going to go to the gym. All right. Until next time. Bye, y'all.